I got a question about my fantasy lineup. I need to set my RB2 and my flex. My RB1 is Aaron Jones, and my other options are Chuba Hubbard, Elijah Mitchell, and Keenan Allen.
I get knocked down.
But I get up again.
You never gonna get me down.
I get knocked down. I get up again.
You never gonna get me down. What's that, Chuba Wumba?
Yep.
Yeah. The guy singing right there, the solo, he actually is our
island boy.
Yeah, Donnie is an island boy down there in Chucktown, South Carolina. Tone Diggs is our fantasy expert, our fantasy guru. He does put on his fantasy cap every once in a while alongside his cowboy cap because he feels bad that he can't help everybody with their fantasy advice. But old Donnie from Chucktown, South Carolina deserves at least a little bit of a conversation. Do you have Aaron Jones as your one, Chuba, Elijah Mitchell, or Keenan Allen? What are you doing with that? Thanks for your call, Johnny.
You know I can't.
Take it away.
Come on, Tony.
That fantasy Tone.
Come on, Tony.
Hey, Corona Tone's on Sundays on Games with Jim Nance.
Respect that.
Corona Tone is doing benefits for underprivileged children while incredibly intoxicated. Corona Tone is changing the game of football. Fantasy Tone, right here in this studio, is answering questions that we all have. What do we do at the running back position?
Come on, Tony. Great question. One that I can't answer.
What?
Tony, come on.
Dude,
You're more disappointing than Corona Tone.
That's fine.
Chuba Hubbard, give him an answer.
There.
No, Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is your guy, right? Is that
Aaron Jones
No,
already
he's already got Aaron Jones.
one of those other three.
fantasy.
Chuba Hubbard, though, RB2. Good move.
Dude, Elijah Mitchell.
He's going up against Bears defense. It's a tough run defense.
All right, I'm going to hang up.
No clue, though.
Last call
Go to hell.
before AJ hangs up.
No, I'm just saying the flex situation, I'm not sure what's going on.
I don't know any of it.
The hypothetical fantasy points that could happen. I'm not thinking it's fantasy. It goes right over my head.
You know, a lot of people send me tweets, and a lot I think like 10 a week, and say, we need to focus a little bit more on fantasy football. I'd like to let you know that we only focus on shit that we know about. And
There's shows for that. There's shows that's all they do is focus on fantasy football because that's what they love and
Yeah,
they're
they're
passionate
great
about.
too.
Yeah, it's basically like politics. Like we don't know nothing about politics, so we don't talk about it. We know nothing about the real world. We don't talk about it. We know nothing about fantasy, so we don't talk about it. But I do agree that our show could benefit from a fantasy guru maybe opening his suckhole and giving back to the sports community a little bit. And that's what Fantasy Tone could do. Let's go. He's opting out of doing, though, in this particular moment. What's that all about?
I got my played for. I like gambling better than fantasy, so.
Let's go to D-Bone. By the way, early reports say gambling will probably be the death of fantasy football.
Oh, yeah.
Makes sense.
But fantasy football will always have its...
Fantasy football is you can just gamble with that though, right?
So that was the initial kind of open of the door, I think. Daily fantasy was okayed in places and everything like that. But now the gambling has come into a lot of the same platforms where fantasy is. And the I believe the trends are fantasy was cool, but anytime touchdown score, my knowledge that I have in fantasy could be benefit over here a lot more. And people, I think it kind of happens. Now, granted, there is incredible fantasy footballers out there that'll always do it and respect and appreciate the art of it and have an incredible skill and ability, which is a lot of time commitment, big brain, the ability to make decisions. Like, I have the utmost respect for it. But from what I have seen on the internet via reports is that sports gambling will potentially eat the fantasy footballers if it goes to more states.
Also, to win like the fantasy and win like the daily or weekly, you have to create an entire lineup and then beat thousands of people. Or you go to the gambling side, use the same information that you have, like, hey, I think this running back's going to do good, and just have that running back do good, and then you just win.
And you don't have to think about chugging a gallon of milk while running a mile and getting tattooed on your face that you stink at fantasy football.
Boom.
Right?
Amen.
Now, granted, your account will have $0.00 on it on Monday, though, and that is depressing enough.
Oh, yeah.
Very tough.
I stared that down the first 3 weeks of the NFL season. That was tough Mondays. Overreaction Mondays were almost no Mondays because there's 0.00 in the account every single fucking Monday.